book review. I mean, I know that Twilight is nothing new, but ironically, possibly maybe, I decided to reread it, and I had no idea that her new one, Midnight Sun, was coming out, which I still don't know when it's coming out. It may have come out, but I read this, I guess around the time it came out, maybe. I did not want to read it. I did not think it would be any good, but I was at a time of my life when I said, I kind of need a pick-me-up, and maybe a vampire romance will be exactly what I need. And I actually loved it. Well, loved it might be a strong sentiment. I remember enjoying it. I remember thinking, wow, the writing is not that great, but for some reason, the sparkly vampire did it for me. I don't remember thinking Bella was quite as boring as I do now, especially I had to rethink it after I saw or tried to see the movies, because I saw someone somewhere say it wasn't that Kristen Stewart was boring, it was that Bella is boring. And after rereading it, actually technically I re-listened to it, but yeah, I was listening to it on my daily walks, and I was like, wow, Bella really is kind of lackluster. When it comes to these reviews, I need to preface it by saying I'm a spoiler girl. I don't know about the rest of you. If you're not into spoilers, this probably will not be the best review vlog for you, because you're not going to want to hear me ruin it. But I think it's because I'm a writer. I have always been someone who likes the end. And as a writer, if I know the end, I can see the progression. I can see how this author plotted. And it makes it better for me. I mean, there's still suspense. I can read a book a million times and I can still pick up new things. So I've always been a spoiler person. I like to know the end because I like to see how I'm getting there. With Twilight, I'm not spoiling anything. We all know that it's about a vampire and a human and they fall in love. Twilight is really about how Bella comes to Forks. She sacrifices her own feelings to come live with her father in the rainy town of Forks because her mother has remarried, and it would just make it easier on her mother if Bella gave them the time to do what they need to do. And so anyways, Bella comes, she hates it, falls in love with the enigmatic Edward, who no girl in Forks can catch the eye of. And then they kind of go through that whole, well, we shouldn't be together because I'm dangerous for you, but we should because we love each other, even though we've only known each other for like 2 weeks. I hate that. Anyways, the real issue comes when they meet another vampire coven, and one of those wants to kill Bella. So then it's all about saving Bella, and Bella's like, you know what? I really don't care for my own safety. I'm gonna put myself in harm's way. The Cullens save her. The end. I find it incredibly interesting how a person can really enjoy a novel at one point in her life and then come back to it and be like, I can barely get through it. Honestly, because my walks are about 30 minutes, so I would get through about 30 minutes, and I had to consciously make an effort to listen because it just did not hold my attention. I found myself saying, hold on, what happened? Then I'd have to rewind, and I'm like, oh, that's why I zoned out, because I don't care. And I know, for those who may not know, Twilight was in a slush pile, which is when somebody, an author, a writer queries, and the agent's like, and they just throw the book in a pile of no-nos, and their Stephenie Meyer's agent was like, I need a book. Hey, assistant, go look in my slush pile, find me something to read. Came up with Twilight. So then Twilight became a sensation. And my question is, all right, so, the premise, a lot of books have really good premises. The problem comes in with the writing, which is what I think this suffers from. And I'm like, so how did she get through editing? And
wait for it.
I still don't know. Maybe somebody can inform me as to how she got away with such poor writing, like cliches. The one that really sticks out in my mind is when Bella is being attacked at the ballet studio, and the Cullens swoop in, you know, they come and get her, and of course she's going out of consciousness, and she's like, my angel. You know, I hear my angel's voice. I've got to hold on, my sweet angel. Nobody is gonna let you get away with that these days. I don't see how they let her get away with it in, 2008? I mean, it's funny. I was actually watching Law and Order Criminal Intent, and it was the episode where this con artist pair was trying to pass off a book as written by a young girl with Lou Gehrig's disease. And so they were just raking in the money because people thought this girl really existed, and then the murder happens because somebody realizes this is a con. And so then the detectives, they get a hold of the original manuscript, and they're like, this thing sucks. How in the world did it become a bestseller? And one of them was like, well, did you see all of the editing, all the notes? That's how it became a bestseller, was because an editor made something really bad into something really good. Why couldn't they do that to this? I mean, obviously it was not good enough the first time around for an agent to say yes. So then when they pulled it out of the slush pile, obviously they knew that there was going to be some changes need to be made. So how bad was it, I guess, is the better question. How bad was Twilight initially for it to have been rejected and still be this bad? I know there's a lot of back and forth. Like, you know, there's two camps. There's, this one is Twilight. For a second I thought it was Eclipse. Anyways, people either love Twilight or they hate Twilight. And I guess my stance is I'm sort of in the middle. I see why people love it. It's a romance that shouldn't happen with characters that shouldn't exist, and that captures the imagination. And people want to be the exception, which is this book. Like, Edward doesn't find humans attractive. Like, he'll drink their blood, but he doesn't want to spend time with them. And then along comes a girl who is nothing special. Like, that, those are basically her words. She's nothing special. And she's gonna come to this town, and every single boy in the entire high school can't get enough of her. And they cannot take a hint. And they're not even hints. Like, she says no, and they come back for more. I guess that's another thing teenagers like. They want to know, because it's such a fragile time for our psyche. Teenage girls want to know that boys will like them and will keep pursuing them, and there's always a chance. So, being in the middle of this, I can see why girls in particular like it, and girls of a certain age like it, or even, I mean, I was early 20s, and I just needed, as I said, a pick-me-up, and if a pick-me-up is a love story, which tends to make you feel better in the end, then yeah, even women of older ages can like it. Because it does offer something that makes you feel better. On the other hand, as I mentioned, not well written. And that is my biggest problem, which I've given some examples of, is how can I possibly like a book that is not well done? I was on a virtual write-in the other day, and somebody mentioned Midnight Sun, and I was like, did I do it? Anyways, somebody then brought up Hunger Games, and so then there's kind of camps in that, where people don't like Hunger Games, but in my opinion, Hunger Games is very well written. It took me a while to like the second book, and then by virtue of that to like the third book, because I felt the second book wasn't finished. It was a true middle book in that there was no resolution. Obviously, I mean, she's in the games. They pull her up. We're done. And we're on the cliffhanger because we're like, well, what happened to PETA? Hunger Games aside, we're talking about construction, execution. That has execution, so whether you like the story or not, it's well done. This is not well done. Neither are the rest. Because I was so disappointed by my reread of Twilight, I don't think I can put myself through reading and or listening to the rest, possibly Breaking Dawn, because by her fourth story, I feel like Meyer's has to have improved her writing, either because of experience or because she has an editor who's like, all right, I'm going to step in and help you out, and because it's a massive success of a series, we can't just say no. So we're gonna help you get to the end, and so I may go through and just read Breaking Dawn to verify if my recollection, because I remember liking Breaking Dawn the most. Not because it was the best story, but probably because it was most well written. And but I've evolved over the last 10 years, so we'll see. There's so many other great books out there right now that I'm like, do I really want to risk reading one that's going to put me to sleep? Twilight. In regards to Midnight Sun, I would be more prone to reading Midnight Sun than trying to go back and read Eclipse, New Moon, or Breaking Dawn, just because it's been 12 years? Let's see. I think I read them in 2009, and that was when the initial leak came out. So, I could probably look at the publication date, because all 4 books, yeah, this was 2005, so all 4 books were out by 2009, and she was going to release Midnight Sun in that area, probably 2010-ish, maybe, but with the leak, she said, not going to do it till people forget about it, which, again, it's so funny how things come and go in my brain, at least, because not too long ago, I was thinking, I wonder if she's ever going to release Midnight Sun. I mean, because she did The Host. I think she did one other book, but she hasn't really been that prolific in between now and then. And so for me, I'm like, obviously the woman doesn't need money, so she doesn't have to write anymore if she doesn't want to. But as a writer, how do you run out of stories? I mean, maybe you run out of steam and you're just tired of writing and your brain's like, I have no more creativity in it. But I was thinking, like, is it ever going to happen? Because as long as Twilight is around, nobody's going to forget about Midnight Sun. But I would read Midnight Sun. Oh, she did do the gender swap one, which I don't remember if I read it or if I was trying to listen to it. And it was just as bad as Twilight. Like, it was not improved quality-wise. Back to Midnight Sun. I would like to see how her writing has improved. I did not read The Host because I did not read good things about it. And obviously, I'm not even quite sure if she had a second one after The Host. So if she hasn't been writing, then how could she improve? I don't know. The girls, I'm assuming they were all female in my that virtual writing I was a part of. They were just gushing. So I was obviously the minority. But I'm also in my mid-30s. I hope you couldn't tell. So I'm in my mid-30s. They are in their early 20s. Again, we are looking at the age gap. We are looking at young women who would prefer a certain type of storyline to someone like me who's much more jaded. I've been through those stages of life. I've experienced what they're hoping to experience, and I've come to realize exceptions are not as prevalent as rules. Has anybody seen He's Just Not That Into You? Exceptions are Twilight and Bella. Rules are Jessica, who not every boy likes, alright? And only gets a date with the boy she does like because the girl he likes, Bella, doesn't like it back. And even then, how often does that happen? Like, you get to be the second choice. Like, if he doesn't like you, he doesn't like you. But in a town as small as Forks, I guess he's not going to pass up his only options. Twilight. Maybe in 20 years I'll come back to it and have a completely new perspective. Probably not. Because I just think I've matured to the point that it's never going to get better. Like, unless she rewrites it and makes it less sappy, it's not going to get better. Takes out her cliches, it's not going to get... Makes Bella strong, it's not going to get better. But then again, you know what, guys? We love what we love. So if you love Twilight, more power to you. I'm all for an audience. Writers work hard. She worked hard. She wrote a book. People love it, people hate it. That could be the hallmark of a good book, is when there are two camps. Speaking of camps, I'm neither Edward nor Jacob, because I think they're both ridiculous after rereading it. I do remember in the beginning, like my first read through, I was not a Jacob fan. So I guess technically I'm an Edward fan, because I thought Jacob just couldn't get it. Like, she didn't like you, kid. Give it up, alright? There's nothing worse than desperation. Yeah, so this didn't turn so much into a review as it did into a writing critique. But I shoot off the top of my head. And if you like it, good, let me know. If you don't like it, tell me what you prefer. Give me ideas as to what books you want me to talk about. I have another book that I just read called Live Forever by Amy Talkington that I'm planning on doing next. Again, I listened to it. So I do think that you do get a different sense of a book from reading versus listening. Sometimes it's because it's a really bad narrator or a really good narrator, or sometimes it's just because the narration shows the flaws. So my next book is going to be Live Forever, and after that I have like 5 books I'm reading at one time. So there's no telling which one I'll finish first. It depends on if I'm in my car. It depends on if I'm on my walk. It depends on if I'm taking a shower. It depends on if I'm outside, laying out the sun. So yeah, it depends on, is there a time frame? Like, do I have to get it done right now? So yeah, there's no telling what my subsequent book reviews will be about, but I have to get them done quickly after reading the book, or else I'll forget. And that's not fun for you or for me, because I won't remember what to talk about, and you'll say, golly, this is the most boring book review I've ever heard. See ya! Anyways, have a great day. I hope you enjoyed. Any tips or tricks, whatever you want to give me, more than welcome, because this is my first. And, yeah, so I can only go up from here.